weekly newsletter.
Welcome to Magnificat TV News, dedicated to offering news of the Church. Today is Wednesday, November 22nd, 2017. On Sunday, the first World Day of the Poor was held in Rome. It is an initiative of Pope Francis so that the world does not forget those who are going hungry. While euthanasia skyrockets in countries like Holland, the Pope has once again rejected that practice, as well as therapeutic obstinacy. Masons are neither close nor far from the Church. They are simply outside of it. An Italian bishop who has participated in a Masonic conference has said so. The Archbishop of Kansas City, conservative, has won over Cardinal Kupich, liberal, to chair the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops Pro-Life Committee. The International Atheist Convention, which was to be held this year in Australia, has been cancelled due to the lack of people interested in attending it. The Pope's concern for preventing the world from forgetting those who are in need has led him to establish a World Day for the Poor, which was held on Sunday.
With the motto, "Let us love, not with words, but with deeds," the first World Day of the Poor has been held. It has been instituted by Pope Francis, who was inspired during the conclusion of the Jubilee of Mercy.
Ceremonies have been organized throughout the world for this day. In the Vatican, the main ceremony was a Mass presided over by the Pontiff himself, in which 4,000 poor people coming from all over the world participated. Subsequently, 1,500 had lunch with Pope Francis in the Paul VI Hall.
During the official announcement, the Pope spoke to all Catholics about carrying out concrete gestures toward poor people this Sunday, and he himself made a proposal. For example, invite them to our table as honored guests.
In that message, Pope Francis said, "If there are poor people where we live who seek protection and assistance, let us draw close to them. It will be a favorable moment to encounter the God we seek. In this way, these people can be teachers who help us to live the faith more consistently."
In order to explain this initiative better, Jose Octavio Ruiz, Secretary of Pontifical Council for Promoting the New Evangelization, indicated that the Pope wanted to establish this date so that we become aware that poverty is a present reality on which we cannot turn our backs.
The Pope has once again rejected euthanasia, as well as its opposite, therapeutic obstinacy. Meanwhile, in Holland, euthanasia skyrockets, reaching 7,000 deaths per year.
The Pope has sent a letter to the participants in the European Regional Meeting of the World Medical Association that has been held in the Vatican.
Pope Francis assures that it is morally licit to decide not to adopt therapeutic measures or to discontinue them when their use doesn't correspond to the search for real possibilities of healing. One does not wish to procure death, the Pope says, but rather accepts not being able to impede it.
Not adopting disproportionate measures or suspending their use means avoiding overzealous treatment, which is completely different from euthanasia, which is always illicit because it ends life and causes death.
If we know that we cannot guarantee healing, we must always care for the living person without futilely resisting death, the Pope indicates. This approach is reflected in the palliative medicine, which endeavors to oppose everything that makes death more distressing, that is to say, pain and loneliness.
Meanwhile, alarming news regarding the administration of euthanasia comes from Holland. The number of people who undergo euthanasia this year will exceed 7,000, an increase of 67% with respect to 5 years ago. It has been proven that there have been people who did not want to die and to whom euthanasia was administered.
Masons aren't close or far from the Church. They are simply outside of it. An Italian bishop who has participated in a conference on Masonry has said so.
Last November 12th, a gathering organized by the Grand Orient of Italy was held in Syracuse, Sicily, on the Church and Masonry, So close, so far. Monsignor Antonio Stagliano, Bishop of Noto, participated in the event.
In an interview granted afterwards, Monsignor Stagliano recognized that many Catholics were upset because of his presence at the gathering. However, he said, "I have been invited to a public debate with a masonry that doesn't seem to be a secret society, and its leaders are visible. I was also able to preach the gospel to them.
I have explained to them," he added, "that for the Church of Vatican II, the Church of Dialogue, they aren't close or far, but completely outside. They are outside of Catholic communion. They are excommunicated. I explained to them what excommunication is."
My objective, the bishop continued to say, was to perform a work of intellectual charity, to give some enlightenment to the people who may be confused. Because if many of those who have listened to me are Masons and are Catholic, evidently those people are confused.
How does one reconcile belonging to Masonry with going to church and perhaps even feeding on the Eucharist? It is not possible. If a priest or even a bishop adheres to Freemasonry, it means that excommunication doesn't matter to them. But a Catholic who doesn't care about excommunication has Catholic identity problems, the prelate concluded.
After having stated that one had to give up cherished beliefs for the sake of dialogue, Cardinal Kupich has been defeated by a conservative bishop to hold the position of chair of the U.S. Bishops' Pro-Life Committee.
Archbishop Naumann of Kansas City has been elected as chairman of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops Pro-Life Committee. He has won 96 votes, while Cardinal Kupich, Archbishop of Chicago, had 82.
Archbishop Naumann will be in charge of the activities of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, will organize on the occasion of the 50th anniversary of Humanae Vitae. Coincidentally, it is the first time since 1980 that a cardinal has not presided over this committee.
The social networks have received the outcome as a victory of the episcopate's most aggressive sector in the defense of the non-negotiable principles. In September of 2015, Cardinal Kupich, as Bishop of Spokane, forbid his priests and seminarians from praying in front of abortion clinics.
In May of this year, Archbishop Naumann announced that the parishes of his diocese would no longer accommodate the Girl Scouts due to their affiliation with Planned Parenthood. Years before, the Archbishop refused to give communion to the Catholic governor of Kansas, Kathleen Sebelius, for her politics in favor of abortion.
Interest in atheism is down. At least that can be deduced from the failure of its annual convention, which was to be held in Australia and was cancelled due to lack of interest.
The 2018 Global Atheist Convention, which was to be held in Australia, has been cancelled due to limited public interest. Ticket sales were well below expectations.
The event, which was to be held from February 9th to the 11th in Melbourne, Australia, had the slogan Reason to Hope, and numbered among its guests popular atheists such as Richard Dawkins, Ben Goldacre, and the author of the Satanic Verses, Salman Rushdie.
In a statement published on its website, the Atheist Foundation of Australia, organizer of the event, justified the cancellation, indicating that ticket sales had been substantially lower than expected and below the levels of previous conventions.
Our editorial this week is dedicated to commenting on the World Day of the Poor, convened by Pope Francis and held on Sunday in Rome.
Este domingo se va a celebrar en Roma la Jornada Mundial de los Pobres. Es una idea del Papa Francisco, y no sé si a imitación, continuidad de la Jornada Mundial de la Juventud o de la Jornada Mundial de la Familia. Según se ha anunciado, 4.000 pobres, la mayor parte de ellos de Roma, que viven allí, y otros traídos de distintos sitios del mundo, van a participar en una misa con el Santo Padre en el Vaticano y después en una comida, muchos de ellos en la Sala Nervi, la sala de audiencias Pablo VI, dentro del propio Vaticano, al lado de la Basílica, y otros en distintos comedores de la Iglesia repartidos por toda la ciudad. Se podrá discutir si tiene sentido traer a un pobre desde un país lejano, pagar el billete de avión darle de comer y luego mandarle a su casa. Esto, bueno, pues esto será discutible, pero me parece que no es discutible la idea excelente que ha tenido el Santo Padre. Y esto por un motivo. El mundo olvida a estas personas, pero es que hay casi 800 millones de personas en el mundo que viven bajo el umbral de la pobreza y el mundo las olvida. Son, como dice el Papa, los descartados. Son los ignorados, como si no existieran. Y son muchísimos millones, no digo que los 800 millones estén pasando hambre, pero realmente muchos sí. El Papa lo que quiere es llamar la atención sobre este fenómeno. Él conoce muy bien la lacra de la pobreza, él sabe muy bien el sufrimiento de tantos y tantos hermanos nuestros. Él tiene un corazón realmente compasivo, un corazón lleno de misericordia y quiere, repito, llamar la atención del mundo entero con un gesto simbólico, un gesto que al menos ocupará, estoy seguro, durante algunos minutos, probablemente pocos, los noticiarios de todo el mundo y las páginas de los periódicos. Esto, repito, podrá discutirse si tiene sentido o no hacerlo con los que viven fuera de Roma, pero desde luego la Jornada Mundial de la Pobreza creo que es una gran iniciativa del Papa. Y no podemos dejarle solo en esta iniciativa. Es decir, no se trata de que él dé de comer un día a 4.000 personas. Bueno, sirve como un gesto. Se trata de que todos los católicos unidos al Papa nos hagamos conscientes de nuestra responsabilidad con los pobres, con los que sufren, no solo los que tienen hambre, porque el sufrimiento es mucho más amplio y a veces más profundo que pasar hambre. Tenemos que hacernos conscientes de que en esas personas está Cristo, de que en esas personas está el Señor al cual se lo debemos todo. Quizá a alguno, repito, pueda parecerle inapropiado poner un pobre en su mesa, que puede ser a lo mejor un familiar que esté pasándolo mal, puede ser un amigo anciano, puede ser una persona que está sola. Bueno, quizá a alguno esto le pueda resultar extraño. Bueno, en ese caso, no pongas un pobre en tu mesa, sino que pon una mesa llena de comida en la casa del pobre. Es decir, ten tú un gesto para con el pobre. Ayudar, dar dinero, por ejemplo, a instituciones como Cáritas, que son eficacísimas, honestas, es realmente una forma de ayudar muy, muy útil, muy inteligente. Pero a veces es simplemente eso, dar dinero. Y lo que podemos hacer es mucho más, darnos a nosotros mismos, acudir nosotros a estar al lado del que sufre, compartiendo su situación, enterándonos, dándonos cuenta de cómo viven, de qué precariedad tienen, de qué escasísimas medidas de higiene tienen. Es decir, puedes poner un pobre en tu mesa o puedes irte tú a compartir con el pobre tu tiempo, tu vida, tu seguridad. Y puedes ir tú a llevar tu mesa a la casa del pobre. Y esto, por supuesto, un día al año, pero un día al año es demasiado poco. Cuando nos damos cuenta, vuelvo a repetir, de que en el pobre está Cristo, de que Él fue, nuestro Señor fue quien nos dijo: lo que hayas hecho al más pequeño, a mí me lo has hecho. Y además que nos garantiza el cielo: venid benditos de mi Padre, porque tuve hambre y me disteis de comer. No solamente, cuando nos demos cuenta de esto, no solamente vamos a hacerlo un día. Estamos, por lo tanto, con el Papa, con Cristo, sirviendo a los pobres. La Iglesia está de rodillas delante de la Eucaristía y delante de los pobres. Y gracias a eso no se pone de rodillas delante de los poderosos. Hasta la semana que viene, si Dios quiere.
If you wish to be up to date with what is happening in the Church, you can visit our news webpage, www.catolicosonline.org. Until next week, God willing.